You say power, trans. Power. 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 Thank y'all for having us. Hi everyone. My sincere apologies for being behind, but truly we're so excited to share space. I'm just so grateful. I'm here to the family, and this is such a remarkable week. Thank you for all the planning that has gone into this, and the strategy building, and the community that is already here that is so prosperous and fruitful and undeniably beautiful. So it's such a gift to be with you all tonight. Truly, thank you. I just want to say thank you because we get lost in the sauce, and then I just wanted to share my gratitude.
And thank you everybody for being here. I'm Cayenne. This is the fabulous Queen G. Thank you for waiting for us. We truly were stuck in traffic all day. I didn't know there was strikes all over London, damn it. But thank y'all for showing up. Tomorrow?
Let's try, come on.
When? We got hair and makeup, girl. Yeah, I'll pull up to the bathroom. Hold on, here's Queen.
I just want to say this is, thank you for coming. I'm so blessed and I'm so grateful to have Cayenne and Queen Jean here today. When I found out that they were in London, I think about 2-3 weeks ago, I was just so excited because both of you, the work that you've done in New York has so informed my desire to be an organizer. It's kept me going through the pandemic and wanting to continue this work that is so thankless and tiring. So really, really happy to be here, and I think we can learn so much. So this talk is called Trans Community Resourcing, and we're here to learn how to resource our communities in a sustainable way from these two incredible humans that have been doing it for decades. And I'm going to hand over to my lovely friend, Chloe Fulani. Also, everyone, please, we are filming, as you can already tell, but if you have any issue with this, please let me know. And we can...
they don't, look, normally they don't even ask you about filming. You just find that on the internet. You're like, oh, child, what was it? Was that me from the... Okay, sorry.
And also, we do have books that you can get signed. Revolution is Love. We're very, very excited to also have gotten in some copies of that. They are limited. But please wait till the end if you're getting your book signed, because, if you could be patient and wait till the end. I'm going to hand over to Chloe, who's an incredible facilitator, poet, artist, performer, goddess. So I'm going to hand over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, June. So lovely to be in this space. Lovely people and these incredible, beautiful women that I'm just in awe and like the grace of you. And also, please never apologize. Time is an illusion. It is Western. You came at the right time. Your hair, we're happy you're here, safe and sound. I hope you're getting warmer. I know this winter is kicking our asses. So I'm just going to introduce them and then we'll get into the conversation. So today we have Queen Jean, who's a prominent activist, costume designer, author, and founder of Black Trans Liberation, a community organizer aiming to end homelessness and the hunger for Black trans people in New York City through social engagement initiatives. Then we have Cayenne Doroshow. She is the founder and executive director of GLITZ, Gay Lesbian Living in a Trans Society, a community organization and charity which in 2020 raised over $1 million within a week through the online fundraising campaigns, raising enough to purchase a building dedicated to providing housing and healthcare, leadership, and doing leadership training for Black trans people. If you give her up for these two beautiful women. Woo! A little bit of housekeeping. So the toilets are on your right and then on your left. You'll see a sign outside that door. You have warm drinks if you want to get any warm drinks. So yeah, we'll start. Also, I just want to ask, how are y'all feeling before you can start into this?
I'm feeling cunt, but
I went to the loo. I'm good.
We're feeling fab.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
That's good to know.
Yeah.
Thank you. So, Cayenne and Qween, I've got a question for both of you. So just introduce yourselves and the work that you do, anything that you want to just like give to this space around like community resourcing and meeting within community needs. Like, how did you start doing your work? Like, what was the thing that like pushed you into this? And like the ideas and the vision of the future for this week. So yeah, if you just go Qween first.
Okay. Oh, wow, that's a great question. Thank you. I would say that I feel like I've always been engaged in this work as just a Black person, a Black woman, a Black trans woman. You know, I've always been on the front lines, it seems, for my humanity. And within this fight, it has been such a gift to know that this this journey is quite expansive. So in trying to find my own liberation, I was able to also find space and community for other people, for other siblings. And that to me is honestly the best gift that I have felt in this journey. As we know, it's tireless work, but honestly it's the most powerful work, because what we're doing is we're literally showing the world that we have the power to free ourselves. Mm-hmm. And we have the power to literally void ourselves from whatever was assigned at birth, whatever barriers that the world puts up against us, that denies us a chance to have fair access, denies us an opportunity to have salvation, economic wealth, prosperity. We actually possess all those powers already. And so by being able to show the world that it's possible, that Black trans women will lead any movement and have led the movement for queer liberation around the globe. So these are already part of our, our special skills. So therefore, honey, I'm suitable for any job, any position. And that's how, I would say, honestly, just to leave anything with you all, honestly, is that walk into every room like you own it. Because honestly, you are the reason why people show up. You're the magic that people will promote, but they often don't want to pay us for it. And so that is something that I've acknowledged, and now we're going to put it in the forefront. You know, it's not just to commodify trans identities, trans power, trans visibility, trans stories. You don't just get to commodify it and then you still leave us unhoused, leave us hungry, literally leave us without medication. You equals you, honey, doesn't mean a whole lot when I'm still on the streets every week. And so that is something that is my reality, like so many other people's, but it is something that has been a gift for me to discover my freedom and to know that, no, we can free more people. And I'd love to pass it over to the goddess, the queen. Woo! Miss Cayenne Doroshow.
Hi, everybody. I wasn't liberated when I started this work over 30-something years ago, almost 40 years. I wasn't liberated. I worked for corporate gay America. And when I say corporate gay America, my bosses did not look like me. So that means I had no power. And they failed me. They failed me in the work. And I got to be totally transparent. I was a sex worker. I was a caseworker, but I was a sex worker. Why? Because casework didn't pay for my life, my livelihood. Being a caseworker only helped my clients. But at the end of the day, I couldn't afford to pay rent. When these organizations failed me that I worked for, and because I was a sex worker, I became a documented sex worker, which means I went to jail. Yes. And, you know, going to jail, it was only 30 days, and 30 days is enough to change your life. in the 30 days, I wrote a cookbook. The lawyers that worked with me published the cookbook. And I was able to turn that into a whole different brand of sex work. I was able to monopolize on my black body, my black trans experience, and turn it into my work. And immediately I jumped into forming an LLC, giving myself the power and not other agencies. No, I didn't have corporate money, government funding, none of that. But I believed in myself because myself was on the street. Myself was homeless. Myself was a crackhead. Myself had been through all of this. And I still didn't have the power to make the decisions for my community. But by incorporating myself, I was able to stand and walk and run and stomp, and now able to go into those same rooms that I was in working for those people and tell them, fuck what you're doing, because I'm going to do it better. I'm going to embrace my community better. I did not dream of taking care. I didn't dream of owning a building. I asked God for that. I seen that as a vision from a baby. I do have faith. And from being a young trans woman on the street, I always wanted to have something for us. That was my mental. Like, I couldn't think of doing anything. If I had the power and the money, and I asked the world for the money. And thank God in a week they gave it. But not like many black trans people, especially in this world. There's a lot of fuckery going on in this world and not-for-profits. I took that money and applied it right to buying that $1 million property. I didn't put it into me. I could have. Let me tell you, it ain't easy buying $1 million property, and it's low income, and facilitating community, because that money that I invested in them doesn't pay for the taxes for that building. But you know what? I may be, like I said, I was a sex worker. We gonna make it do what it do. So, you know, this journey, and I want y'all all to invest in yourselves. You challenge all the organizations. You challenge straight America. You challenge them all. You challenge the politicians. You get in their face. You be loud and proud. And you invest in yourself. Because tomorrow is investing in yourself. That push and pushing yourself, oh, there's a glory there. There's another side to that shit. When you look back years after that, you're looking back on the work you created and the lives you've helped and saved and the people you've embraced. Embracing people, it doesn't take much to love and embrace and encourage somebody to do better. So if y'all are going to take something from this, take the embracing yourselves, inspiring yourselves to inspire somebody else.
Wow. A word. Can we get an applause, please?
I need a pen and paper. I gotta take notes. Maybe this is good.
Thank you. And from that, so you mentioned like resourcing. So I wanted to talk, why is it important from the trans community, resourcing, especially like we can't rely on the state, that we can't rely on these like risky brand deals. Like, does it mean that we need to apply more pressure to the state? Does it mean that we, you know, where do we find the funding? Like, what's your organizing skills, or what are the things that you've been finding that helps you find the funding to create more financial infrastructures for yourselves and your community?
Well, that's such a powerful question, and it really resonates. And I feel like, I mean, that's been an ongoing question for me, especially in this last year. So I guess, so just to take it back, you know, when I first moved to New York City, you know, I was unhoused, trying to figure it out, trying to hustle, and it was going nowhere. And, you know, a lot of times, you know, well, look, you just got to get into a shelter, navigate it for a little bit, then you can get housing. And the reality is, there is, to me, I find them just to be, you know, a hamster wheel of destruction, right? Because they want you to, you know, sign up for this program, enlist here, sign up for this, and yet there is no outcome. You're just running on the hamster wheel, if you can run. Sometimes you just passed out, and it's just teetering back and forth. And so for me, I feel like there must be a way out of this prism, out of this container. And truly that was community. I realized that yes, there are resources out there. There are literally people sitting with money this entire time. A lot of us have been broke, hungry, and homeless during the pandemic. There are people who have not needed for not one thing since the pandemic. There are people who are still thriving. People who haven't had to have left their home. People who are not impacted in the way that it impacted our community. Queer folk, trans folk, black people at large. There are people who literally never had to touch the capital of their income. Yet we were struggling to create and generate income. And so identifying that to me was like, okay, so then let's connect the dots. Oftentimes, a lot of these companies, brands, they reach out to us during Pride. That's the only time honey, during Pride, it's okay to be gay, even in Florida. Hold this sign. Hold the condom. It's like, what? You're fucking crazy. So so the first year, honestly, it felt like, okay, so there only seems to be love and interest and capital in the month of June, and then somehow we're all fucked again. Somehow we don't, July 1st, we then go back to the struggle. And so for me, I felt like, okay, no, we need to revisit these meetings, revisit these corporations. Okay, this is great to have a Pride launch, but we need a year-long launch. We need a year-long investment. We actually need a 5-year investment. As Ms. Cayenne always says, we need scholarships. We need educational endowment into what we are doing for our future. We don't just need to show up on someone's set and maybe get a free pair of jeans. A shout out to Diesel, okay? We love a jean, girl, okay? Ooh, make your booty feel good. But what would it be like, right, to have an entire year's supply of merchandise for folks to have? And on top of that, the people that you're bringing in, we already know what it gives, right? It's always a very particular niche type of aesthetic that they're attaining. But even in this room, please look around. Look around at the variety of power, of beauty, of style, of elegance. This is who the community is. So oftentimes I realize that when we're trying to resource, we have to be strategic and also be aware that these same systems, right, these same folks that are going to give us money and fundraising support, they will select who they want to elevate. But as a community, we have to be even more ahead of the game and say, right, what we actually need is a community elevation. We all need to get risen up. We would love to get, a free sponsorship, but we actually need our entire group, our entire family. They all need to be on this campaign. They all need to be walking away with something generous and something actually fruitful. That is how we build the sustainability. So next year, we might even have more family members that come out. We will have more people. To me, that's been the power, is seeing when the need increases, right, the desire increases. And so because of that, that's how we hold these folks accountable. And that definitely trickles down from the top down. Our political leaders, legislators, these folks who come around every campaign, they'll come around, hey, Ms. Cayenne, let's take a photo together. No, it's not about the photo. We need the investment. I'm always out on the front, baby. I'm always yelling, honey, we need a new mayor, abolish the police. That's why I stand on my politic. Because these same systems truly criminalize us even further. They do not show up as a source of refuge for queer folks. Literally, we still don't know who killed Marsha P. Johnson, but we could look at the NYPD. Let's start there. But these are the realities that we have had to face. My sister Linda always says, trans people, we are not the issue and the solution. We cannot be the issue and the solution. So now we're not only demanding change, we're actually generating how it could look like. And we have to do it so that when the change happens, they don't tell us, well, this is now your new life. This is how you show up in the world. This is how you will go out into, no. We are defining that for ourselves. And with these resources, this is how we can do it for our own people. So that it looks like us, it's inclusive, it's powerful, and it's consistent. Because the consistency is time and time again what we realize. These folks are not consistent. They'll come around for a one time. You know, I mean, there's somebody was telling, you know, when we think about charity, there is no respect and dignity in charity. But there is dignity and respect in community. And so when we are looking for these opportunities, right, they'll present them as a handout. You know, we'll bring you in, but then we need you to do this for us. That type of shady bargaining, those are terms and conditions that do not help a community that is so marginalized and already suppressed. Thank you.
I think when it comes to resources, I always think out of the box. And I partner myself really, really well. I don't get into the tomfoolery. I don't have time for the shady kids, the reading, none of it. I have zero tolerance. I have tolerance for my house, and when I step out of my door, I'm a #1 gangster. I'm looking to get it done. I'm not looking to be in your face. People always say, well, you know what? She's spending government funding. I've been fabulous way before all of this. When I was sucking dick for a coin, I was fabulous. When I was a crackhead, I was wearing thousands of dollars of shit. That gets you the higher clientele. So I had to stop children. Listen, that's not how this happens, sweetie. The fabulousness, that's gonna come. But the art of resourcing came from being a black trans woman that can be in rooms, that can be approachable. I'm not cursing you out. You already know I'm pissed off, and you already know what I need. But effectively, I can have a conversation with you that guilt you into doing what's right. A lot of my partners are cis people in politics. And there's a young man, I'm so proud of him because he has Tourette's, and he talks about it. And, you know, some people laugh at him, but sweetie, he made it all the way to being a public advocate. That young man deserves all the praise. That is a resource. When I'm in trouble, when I need something, that's somebody I can go to. My sister Chanel Lopez, my sister Kim Watson, all of these trans women work for different government organizations. That don't mean I gotta call that agency. I can call my sister that's infiltrating that agency, because that bitch can be the one to make the call. I don't have to make the call to them. She could be the person to say, hey, you know, she needs such and such and such. And that's how it happens. And we need to literally resource ourselves into these spaces. Because by loaning ourselves to these spaces, we're creating change. We're creating a better tomorrow. We're actually looking to have ownership in a world where they don't want to give us anything. They're trying to take away all of our rights. I don't need your right to marriage. I'm going to marry any fucking body I want to, when I want to, and I don't need your permission for a bathroom. If either bathroom is full, I'm going to either one. I will open up the men's room and say, sorry boys, move over. I got to go. The women's room is a mess. I don't need your permission for that. You're writing a law to say I need to use the bathroom. I'd rather pee in your backyard. How's that? We have to resource constructively, and we have to say that these frivolous bills and laws that you're creating has nothing to do with us. Yes. That's your politics. That's what makes you feel comfortable. Our reproduction rights, y'all have no say in our bodies. So how could you say a trans man or a trans woman should not reproduce? That's none of your fucking business. Nobody tells you how to have children, how to succeed, how to be a family, or what a family looks like. We need to resource all of this back to ourselves. So when people are in Congress, or they're in politics, or they're in the government, or they're in parliament, that they're reflections of us fighting for resources. So you never get to talk on that platform for us, we need to be on that platform talking for ourselves. We need to be able to step on that platform and say, excuse me, Mr. White Man, can you shut up? I need to be talking and you don't have the right to talk for me. That's very powerful, to stop that mic. There's a young woman I don't necessarily believe in because she's problematic, and she's problematic, but you know, she had this ongoing beef with an entertainer, and she got on the stage and she cursed him out, and you know, that was effective for her. Me, I would never get on that stage and curse out that entertainer. I would actually tell him, I need about $50,000 for you to make up for your mistake. It's a way to work the system. It's a way to guilt society and the systems into these resources. When I talk to people, it's a straight, direct conversation. If it was your child, what would you want? Another resource I have is going to colleges. Going to colleges, talking to college kids, opens up minds. It teaches young people different avenues, different careers, different career choices. Maybe they didn't think about being a lawyer, but now because you met a black trans woman, you want to protect the black trans woman, and you want to study law so you can be effective. That is a resource. And I went to Berkeley a couple of years ago, like 2 years ago, during the pandemic, and two kids, a brother and a sister, God bless them, went home to their dad. Their dad worked for Google corporate offices. And Google donated a shitload of money because those two kids went and told their dad, one, that they were community, but two, that they believed in the work that I'm doing. And he called me, I thought it was a joke. He said, this is Google corporate offices. I said, yeah, right. and you know, it was effective. It worked. And by the time I hung up the phone, he said, just give me your information and I'll send a check to your bank. I got a phone call, like, I couldn't believe it. I looked at my Instagram, and it was, what Kelly was her favorite? Kelly Osbourne. Yeah. And I said, oh, yeah, right. And she gave me her number, and I called her through Instagram, and I'll be damned, it was Kelly Osbourne. And then, you know, fast forward that year, I went to a New Year's event and Kelly was there. And when she seen me, she lost. This is how you know resources and effectiveness has an effect, because all night she stayed in my presence. She went and did her thing professionally, but she kept coming back to community and partying and breaking bread. And that tells you it's not just about that look. It's about her being invested in community. One of the things I like that Kelly Osbourne said that I think affected me more than anything was a lot of her friends are sex workers. That's all I need. That's all I need. That was all the gratification I needed for that moment, that you identified that this is survival sex work. This is not something you understand that people are going to jail to survive. So how can we help people? By building resources, by having attorneys to bail them out, by helping them with their human rights. It is a human right to use your body the way you want to. It also is a human right to fight for your life.
Yes.
Thank you. Hold on. Oh my God, Mr. Cayenne. You know, something that you shared brought up for me this notion and understanding of enlarging our territory. And to me, enlarging our territory means that, like, we are actively committed to increasing, fortifying, and stretching what we have. And to me, that happens when we're in dialogue. I think white supremacy and the systems of oppression will dictate that we stay in our silos. Yeah, I mean, this is not new information. But in New York City, you know, we have over 25 plus black trans-led organizations that are literally servicing in all parts, healthcare, housing, travel support, and immediate aid. You know, I mean, we've showed up and we are taking food sovereignty so that we can eliminate hunger and crisis. And that's, you know, Black Trans, that's our weekly commitment. That is our fist in the fight. So to me, in terms of resourcing, you don't have to do it alone. I mean, mental health is, I mean, literally, the scroll of crisis will never end. You know, we could be trying to address this one topic and literally there's something else that's unfolding. Gun violence, transphobic violence, these are things that have yet to be discussed, yet to be really addressed. We could feed somebody, but do they have a place to go home? Do they have a place to wake up and feel safe? We could give somebody groceries. Do they even have a fridge to put it in? Oftentimes, you know, our community, you know, they might have to go back home to shelter. They might have to go back to surviving. And even in the dead of winter, the pain that must be to know that you will do anything to get what you need. And that is a reality that I think that when we can come together and truly collectively create, that is a powerful resource in itself. That we don't have to be burdensome with all of this, because it is. It's hard, it's very difficult, and it doesn't seem like it's happening, it's going to change tomorrow. But the change is happening. Trust me, literally it is happening. The change is already in this room. So this is a testament that we can even gather like this, because truly they don't want us to gather. They don't want us to assemble. They don't want us to share resources. And they belong to us. Just as much as it belongs to anybody else. Shout out to the Queen, but the real Queen is here. Okay? Okay.
So I want you, when somebody asks you, who are you? Or you know that that's an open question when they ask that bullshit. You tell them you're a survivor. And then you give them your name and pronouns and the rest of this shit. Because basically we're all survivors. Saturday is December 17th, the day to end violence against sex workers. And it's one of the most traumatic days. And I think Matt, who's here, and Nighthawk, because one of the things I've done in New York City is stop making this a somber event, because I didn't have the therapist that needs to go with this day. So I started celebrating the lives of people we lost, because that's what we need to do. It's like an old New Orleans kind of celebration. Second line, that you pay it forward, you give it back, and you lift their names and their spirit and their body. And that's how you contribute to what's going on. This year alone, every year it keeps increasing, and the government and society doesn't see it. But we know it because we feel it. This year, 39 plus, maybe today the number has changed, 39 plus dead, murdered, 50 fatalities globally. That's why I'm here. That's why Qween is here, because this is a global situation. It is an international situation. When my sisters and brothers are being taken out, I am willing to go to Ghana. I am willing to go to Guyana, Trinidad, Puerto Rico, Jamaica. I'm willing to infiltrate these spaces. I'm willing to break bread and have conversations, because I want to know that these resources are alive, and I want you to know that I am here. Qween is here in these spaces. When we say resource, a lot of the resourcing comes from just our body. I might be dead tired. My staff can tell you sometimes I'm not good. Ja's on my board. He's trying to figure out an exit plan for me to just get some rest. A lot of this work is you resourcing your body, your mind. It's your mental space. But I'll be damned if I'm not going to pick up that phone when somebody calls. Regardless to how big or how small, I'm going to resource that motherfucker to some kind of safety. I'm not going to leave you hanging. I think we lend our spirits much like Sojourner Truth, much like Harriet Tubman, much like Martin Luther King, and we are black trans women. But we don't get that, and nor do we want that fucking acclaim. Them bitches struggled. Nor do we want that. We just want to help community and help community build a brand of love and respect for our community. That way you can never look down upon us. We need to be looked at as not only being community, but being a part of society that you can't erase. You can't erase us. We are undeniably present in life.
Thank you so much, honestly. So my final question of this organization and resources and community, I wanted to ask, how can we internationally create more solidarity and support for each other, especially when it comes to this learning of resources and organizing? And how can we share ideas like social media, staying engaged with each other, in what's happening in each other's lives? How can we exchange GoFundMes from different locations, so it's not just in one space, so there's like more of a like international conversation of who needs the money, like who should we be focused on sending money to? Yeah, like
y'all. So the U.S. doesn't get a lot of funding that y'all do get, but there are resources here. Here's the thing. This is crazy. Y'all can take it and run the Elton John here, Red Umbrella Project here. There's so many things here that y'all can do as people of color, as black people, as community members. Y'all can do. Look up ILGA, ILGA, which is the Human Rights Commission for LGBT community. Become a part of it. Ask to be on the board. Be a member. Look up NSWP, the National Network for Sex Workers. They're messy as fuck, but we need to have more people of color on, and I'm on every board that I'm mentioning. Look up Caribbean Equality, I'm on that board. Look up NITAG, I'm on that board. Look up your gay and lesbian museums, get that money, because that's a resource. Don't just use our naked pictures or our dead bodies as art. Give us that dollar. You go, you look for the arts department. All of these places have money. These little small entities that you don't think have that money, and damn it, hit corporate America. Be that beautiful trans woman that shows up to an organization that does not normally fund a trans organization and say, hi, how are you? I'm gonna need some funding. And here's the camera. Hold them accountable. This is how you effectively create change. You step into these spaces and you hold them accountable. You wait till there's a city planning council meeting. Oh, that's the one you really show up. Go get your 2s and 4s put on, and you go to that meeting and you make your presence known. Because the more that we infiltrate their system, they have to identify that we're in that system and we deserve that funding. They don't want to give it to us. Elton John, normally, think about it. Who gets funded by Elton John? Think about it. They don't look like me. They don't look like me. But how do you effectively create that change and get that dollar? By making it about all of us. Not about a color, about all of us. Not just about AIDS, and that's the problem. That most funding connected to our community, you only want to fund us if we're dying. Fund us to live. Fund us to survive. Fund us to thrive. Fund us to get an education. Fund, if you want us to stop doing sex work, goddamn it, give us scholarships. I say it all the time. We have to be a part of creating the change, but also letting them know, this is why I'm doing it, and what you got for me to stop it. If you don't want me doing this, well, sweetie, give me some of that grandfathered and grandmothered money, because that money exists. That money exists, and gag, they're willing and waiting to give it up. Invest in yourselves. I say it over and over again. And believe in somebody. If you don't believe in God, believe in somebody, because that faith is going to take you somewhere.
And you can start with believing in yourself. Because we are gods, we are deities, we are monarchs. We are such powerful divine people that exist in this world that people literally try to tell us that we're not. From birth, they try to tell us who we are. And honestly, that's been one of the biggest salvations, realizing that I didn't need someone else to define me. And I didn't have to live by their description. I didn't have to live by their outline. I had to truly find my own journey into Qween. And that journey helped me to find a godmother, Miss Cayenne Doroshow. And it's not easy, but literally the same people that are telling us no, the same people that don't want us to show up to holidays, as fabulous as we are, right? Who don't want us to get the affirming healthcare procedures that we actually need, because dysphoria is the real thing. They do it all the time. I went to college with a lot of young women, right? And this is no shade, but you know, I'm gonna get my little nose job. I'm gonna do this. My dad wants me to do this, and it's okay. But if I need a little situation, it's somehow a governmental abomination that I need to get work done. And it's not. And again, it's not just reduced to that, but it's about affirming health care. As anyone needs affirming health care. It shouldn't just have to be cancer, right? For you to want to have to save a young trans baby. It shouldn't just be St. Jude's. It could be St. Cayenne, St. Qween, St. Marcia. These are young people who also need to be protected. That are fighting to live in their truth. That are fighting to have respect in the protection of an elder, a parent, a guardian, even a fucking relative. To acknowledge and protect them. But they won't even do it at the home. So then you go to school, you're bullied, beaten, bruised, battered. You even go to, I mean, literally, you step out of any space and you're in harm's way. And that has been our reality. And you graduate into it even as an adult. We know many times, even young queer adults, folks, were still targeted, still harassed. And they do it because they know they can get away with it. And the moment that our society says, you will not touch any one of us and get away with it. We don't just organize and galley when there's crisis. And then it just feels like, okay, there's a sense of agency, but it's short-lived. That rage only lasts one night. And so to me, I feel that it is so integral in this moment that we acknowledge and we harness our divine power. And that we demand, not only that it's respected, that it's put into place. This is not no theoretical shit. Yeah, we can read about it, absolutely. But no, we're living it.
I do want to say something. So y'all have a prime minister that's quite a tool. I want y'all to make that your focus point of challenge. You have to infiltrate that bitch. And why? Because as a black trans woman, and I'm just going to say from my perspective, I don't want to be you. I never wanted to be a biological woman. I do inspire and aspire to be a lady. Yeah. That's very different from being a biological woman. Any biological woman can be a woman, but not every woman's going to be a lady. Yeah. So this, what's her name? Trash, what's her name? You might as well be Trash. She's gone? That was quick. Really? Okay, then fuck that out. Wow. But I want, well, look at God. I want y'all to always remember that your transness, your transhood, be it male or female, is yours. You're not identifying anything other than you being you. You are your first resource and your first power. You never let anybody take that away. And when you see a cis woman having conversations, and they often do, they're the ones fighting in politics to take away our livelihoods because they're threatened. You have the very conversation, why? Why are you so threatened by my presence? And how do we change this? How can I change your mindset so you don't feel like I'm poisoning your lifestyle? This is not about your life. This is about who I am, who I was born as, and who I'm going to be. I was born this way. I want you to live. Let me live.
Yeah. And, ooh, come on. And I think oftentimes, I personally, as just Qween, I struggle oftentimes with having to compromise my humanity. And it feels like that's like, you know, oh, okay, but they legalized marriage. Yeah, but y'all can still kill me tomorrow. What? Like, I don't understand. What is the rationale, right? That somehow you feel like, okay, well, look, you know, queer people, you know, y'all can get married now.
Because Peter and Brian are going to get married.
Okay, well, honey, Peter and Brian can't help me pay my rent. Okay, you know,
and
shout out.
All of it, 401k, all of it.
There,
marriage equality ain't for us. It's for them.
Message. There's a myth of meritocracy, and the meritocracy being that the people in power, right, that they've arrived at this power, at this position, because they've worked so proudly and diligently. You know, they love to say, pull up by your bootstraps, and that you as the incoming, as the evolving, aspiring individual, you've got to prove something. You got to prove to them that you could sit here with us, that you could lead, that you could be in power, that you could have doctrine over your own life. And it's the most, to me, it's rubbish. Because I should not have to sit at the same table as my oppressor and to arrive at a middle ground, right? For them to understand that, yeah, I'm someone of importance. I'm someone of value. I actually have 2 master's degrees. I actually, honey, have my own corporation. I actually have my own production company that I've been doing literally on my own. And because of that, I've been able to bring up my own community at the same time. But that's not because you gave me a favor. That's not because you lent me anything. You didn't do us a favor. And so that is the myth of meritocracy, because these same folks in power, okay, come on, we're going to pass the love offering. These same people, they're not honest at how they arrived here. They had white supremacy supporting them, right? They had parents, endowments, trust. Okay, what is it called? What is it?
If my mother would have believed in me as a child,
Talk.
I would be president right now.
Hello.
If I could just have that support as a queer child, as a gender different child, imagine how far I could have went in life. Now that she's very proud of me, my whole damn family is proud of me. But y'all was not proud of me when I was struggling, when my makeup was off, when my fashion was less than. Y'all were not proud of me. So imagine the ownership in it now. And imagine how it still hurts. That as the adult in me wants the child in me to still be held, but y'all now hold the adult. That adult is still a broken child. There are moments when I have to stop my mother and say, girl, and I have to. It's not because I want to. I never want to hurt her, but I have to be real with myself. I own this. All of this is me. You don't get the right to ever. You got a lot of making up to do. There's some ass kissing you need to do. And we have to be clear with owning that and saying, this is where you fucked up. I just had a talk with a trans girl the other day that said, I don't know how to make my mom understand what she did to me back then. And I say, you have to find a way. Right now, it's a confrontation. But you have to find a way to make it not so much of as a confrontation as showing her from the other side. It's an identifying moment where she gets it. It's not you giving it to her, where she feels guilty and tears are in her eyes because she realized she fucked up. And that her precious jewel, the child that came out of her, was always her child. Not about sexuality, her child.
Yeah. And honestly, to me, the common denominator always, in terms of the deficit, is hatred and bigotry.
Because we're literally, you know, we show up as we are. Some of us, it takes a little bit more time. We figure it out. But it does not mean that our parents shouldn't respect who we are as young people. That little journey. Even and it happens, right, in the choices and the selections that young people will make. Yeah,
it happens around the holidays, when you have to go home, when you're forced to go home, when you don't want to go home, when you're sitting in there and they're misgendering you and you're like, ooh, but you're still there, you're still showing up, you're still trying to be there. And there are moments, but I tell you, resilience is in our community, because I so love to get my sisters and brothers together. There is a joy in a read, and you have to be strong in a conviction to read them in such a classy way where it affects their soul. And then you smile and say, go with God.
Okay. Okay, go with God.
I wanted to ask you a little pivot into this moment. So you have your amazing book. I wanted to ask, how did it come about? Why? And also from even just like reading parts of it and looking at it, like the importance of archiving Black trans movements and Black trans people.
Oh my God, thank you. Revolution is the Love, honestly, was a dream. It's a daily affirmation. It is a commitment to liberation. And I started in the summer of 2020, like a lot of folks. I mean, we all saw the horrible, atrocious murder of George Floyd. Someone that we didn't know, but they were a human being that for almost 9 minutes, right, was literally suffocating and killed. And we all rushed out into the streets to demand justice, to demand accountability. And to me, it really felt like there was a global sense of humanity in that summer. 2 days later, Tony McDade, a Black trans person, a Black trans man who lived in Tallahassee, Florida, was targeted by his own community and ended up being shot and killed by the police there. And we were outside, literally, you know, Tony McDade, say his name, George Floyd, say his name, George Floyd. And I was like, Tony McDade! Tony, you know, and it was so frustrating. Because literally, it was as if like, okay, well, like there was a resistance to demand accountability and to demand justice for his life. And I strongly believe it was because he was trans. And it became so clear to me that we cannot allow another day to pass without there to be a real sense of reckoning. If we are fighting for Black lives, it must include and start with our queer community, our queer siblings, the trans women who've always been in deficit, the trans women who've always been galvanized and skipped over, who have been chewed up and spat out. The same Black women, right, who will see a church will still snare and snicker and point at us on the street. And so it became so clear to me that this is not over. And the next week we started marching. Another week after that, and it grew and it grew and it grew. And for me, it was the most powerful thing because I just knew that we were so angry. But what I didn't count on was that I would truly find a sense of home. I would find a community. We often, you know, we were coined an army of lovers. And that was the reality. We were not, trained people. We were all artists. We still are artists. But we had something to say. And we took up space and held space wherever we were. On the West Side Highway, at the St. Patrick's Cathedral. I mean, we pulled up and showed up any and everywhere because we had to show the world and let them know that Black trans women are women, trans men are men, and trans people are human. And there's no arguing about it. There is no sense of trying to denounce us because somehow you feel that we're inferior. And that is how the movement started. And to be honest, we started at Stonewall Inn, right there on the stoop. But to me, it was deeper than that. Because in that moment, I was reckoning with the knowledge that literally on these same streets, we knew that, you know, almost 40 years ago, Marsha P. Johnson, Sylvia Rivera, Miss Mother Major Griffin Gracie, they were already doing this work. But society and the queer people failed them. Time and time again, right? We all were out there. We saw the portraits. fighting for liberation, fighting for the Black Panthers, fighting for there to be equity in New York City, equity for queer people. But then literally we find ourselves now in 2022 with over 300 anti-trans bills, and it's globally. We see what's happening in Ghana, we see what's happening in Uganda. Literally, you're trans, you are up for execution. The people in Iran right now, up for execution. Because they are fighting for human rights. They are fighting for queer rights. They are fighting for women to have autonomy over how they show up in the world. A bad hijab, right? Morality should not equal murder. But that is what is happening in the world in this moment. But if we as a society, if we stood up and said no in 1970, why can't we say no in 2010? Why can't we say no in 2020? Why can't we say no now? The reality is the system is so divided, the people are so divided that we will always be in revolution until they realize that what we are is not only family, we are your neighbors. We deserve to live just as you. And so it was how that started. It was a dream. I wanted for the world to know that this happened, that it's still happening, and that it was Black trans women at the forefront. And most importantly, it was a family of people that had been organically created, had formed, who needed a place to go on a Thursday because we were still in a contentious pandemic. There was no vaccine. There's still no vaccine, really, because we're still out here getting sick. We're actually still fighting this plague. It's not over. Transphobia is not over. Misogyny is not over. Racism is definitely not fucking over. So we're still actively in this fight. We're actively still, like I said before, we're on the front lines of our humanity. And this book, I hope, can be a love letter to any person in this world that doesn't feel embraced, that doesn't feel comforted, that doesn't feel that they belong. When we gather, where 2 or 3 gather in his name, the presence and spirit is there. And so for me, it is our own sense of worship, it's our own sense of Bible, it's our own sense of divinity. And it started with a year, but I pray that it's for a lifetime. That we don't always have to keep fighting, but that we will truly be respected and revered for who we are in this world. As many civilizations have respected us and galvanized us and truly uplifted us from the diasporic country, from even down to ancient Middle Americas. Before, right, folks occupied what we know as North America. There were communities, there were indigenous tribes and families that honored trans and queer people. One of the first history lessons that I took, I read, where they talk about this idea of colonization. And they asked the Black folks there, what do you call a man and a man who live together? They said, we call that love. And in 2022, there are people that are so terrified to see us as love because they cannot see themselves in us. And I pray that revolution is love. You can find yourself, you can see your family, you can see your own extension of your power.
Thank you so much. Can I go on the floor? So my final question to both of you is, what does joy look like? Like, what is your practice of joy for yourself,
I don't know. Joy for me is going to be owning a bunch more properties for a community and actually thinking of how to employ them, how to educate them, how to lift them, lift their spirits, lift their minds, but how to create a network of resources that goes globally. That would bring me joy. I don't want to retire from this work knowing that any of you are starving, that any of you can't make it, that any of you can't live your best lives. Joy for me is seeing y'all have the same joy. That sustainability that is based on all humanity. Why is it different for us? I want to see that joy look the way it looks for what they call normal society, because that's us. We are normal society. Actually, we are the hustlers. We're the strugglers. We are the people that are not ever going to give up because we believe in ourselves. And I want to see that joy reign for decades. I want to see it change. I want to see us in Congress, in Parliament, in state seats, and just swallowing this world by choice, because we have the right to be in those rooms. That would bring me joy, that my old ass could retire, because you motherfuckers could take care of me.
Amen. Joyful, joyful Lord, we adore thee. Honestly, this question is so profound because joy is so, you know, it seems like it's the most easiest thing to find, right? I can, oh, there's a piece of joy right here. Here's a piece of joy right here. But the joy has to be cultivated. And it has to be genuine. It would be great if it's sustaining. And to me, joy always comes back to family. The last year, I have found joy every Wednesday. Black Transliberation, we have a kitchen that we've cultivated. We have a group of family, a tribe. We farm. Okay, I got my little weeding tools. We farm, and we're teaching people how to fish. We're teaching our siblings, right, how to eat healthy, how to access nutritious food. And every Wednesday, we have fellowship, like we do at church. I mean, that's how I grew up. It's a Black Trans Bible study, if you will. But we gather and we check in with each other every week. Because of the winter, mind you, we do this outside at the park and break it up. And it got very cold recently, and Miss Kyle was like, "Girl, you gotta bring it inside." And boy, was she right, because baby, I'm gonna tell you something. Ooh, I almost lost the eyelash out there because it was freezing. And also too, it became so real, right, that, you know, it would be great for someone to actually eat their meal inside in a warm place and to break bread. And so on the last couple of weeks, we moved inside. We have an amazing partner in Judson Memorial Church. They are an incredible accomplice for liberation. And so that's how I find my joy. We feed each other. We listen. We've been doing movie nights. Last week I saw The Wiz for the first time. I had never seen it. And this, okay, I know, gag. He's on down the road. Incredible. And last week, honestly, for me, a huge pinnacle moment. Because sometimes I'm like, wow, this is happening. That this is real. But we were watching Paris is Burning, I guess 2 nights ago, Wednesday night. And it was so profound to be in a room full of like young queer people who will be the vanguard for our future, right? Literally in a room and we're watching our elders, we're watching the ancestors, and literally seeing the duality, right? These are young people at the pier trying to figure it out, you know, stealing like a burger from, was it Roy Rogers? And it was so powerful that we could see where we come from, but also that we're actively redefining what it is for us right now. And then we vogue and cut it up. We slap backs, and that to me is the joy that I dreamt about, but I didn't realize that it could be real. And so that has been joy for me, and that truly starts and ends with family, with Miss Cayenne, who feeds people year-round, daily, sometimes twice a day if you're lucky, if you're blessed. And as a Black trans woman, honestly, I never thought that would be real. You know, I grew up with, you know, powerful Black women, but they didn't see the power in me. I was only powerful as Andrew. Okay, sorry, well, but I mean, and I was like, well, that's not, I don't know who that is. But that's the only way that they could see power in me. If I shifted, if I conformed, if I played into a system, if I married a woman, Lord, what, that would have been destruction. But it wouldn't have been real. Special? Oh, okay. But I'm grateful because I have been able to find an extension of love in this Cayenne Doroshow that truly is not only divine, but is necessary. Doing this work is not only challenging, it can be heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. Because people don't realize that the ins and outs.
When the girls curse you out.
Okay.
I know that one.
Yeah, no. But and that's real because you know, there's so much stigma already in who we are. There's stigma in the work that we do, right? That people don't take it serious.
Let me be really direct and clear with y'all. Our worst enemies are ourselves. I want y'all to never forget that. That the biggest people, yes, society will hurt us, but our people will hurt us far worse. So we have to be guarded. And we have to be smart enough to identify that. And when you see the garbage standing in your way, do like a good garbage man, throw it out and keep it moving. Do not keep festation in your life. You move forward in progress and you leave yesterday behind. 2023 should not look like 2022. So if you know that person brought you trauma and drama and grief and anguish and stress, sayonara and block that number. It's change.
And that means a blue, it could be a day.
Okay? It could be anybody. It applies personally and professionally. It's time to block. Because oftentimes, you know, those people, they see your power. They know what you could do for them. They know what you're already doing for them. And because you constantly take them back, because you are refilling their cup, and they just take away from yours.
We're not going to spend the night in here.
Okay.
Oh, thank you so much. Do we have time for questions?
Let's do a round of questions. 4?
Yeah. Yeah, okay.
Questions?
4 questions.
Okay, questions for Cayenne. Yeah.
For both of you incredible women. Honestly, thank you so much for sharing all that information, for sharing yourselves, for sharing your love, for sharing the community, for this amazing book. And yeah, just for all the like information. And this will be recorded, so none of you had your notes out, but you will when you watch it. So yeah, I'm gonna say any questions for the room for these two.
Sibling in the blue.
Sorry, hi everyone. Name is Z, they, she. Thank you so much for your stories. It's definitely been resonating and very inspiring. I specifically have a question, or I've been thinking, I'm not really formulating a question yet, but when it comes to specifically within the community, I see a lot of struggles with coming together, i.e. people having their own ideas of what Black queer liberation looks like, or what Black trans liberation looks like, and people come together and have this amazing idea, and then 6 months later everybody just moves and shifts to their own thing. And I'm trying to figure out if, well, I want to know, has that happened to you, of course, in the past, and is it still happening?
It's
and like,
gonna
how
happen.
do you, yeah, how do you like?
It's gonna happen for decades, way past us.
Do you have any tips on it?
I will say focus groups is a centering. You get all those problematic people, because they will be problematic, in one room, and you give people, you do a vision board. And this is your vision board, and you have an accountability specialist right there to sign on what they said they can do. That way you've committed to what you can do. You're not overwhelmed by that work that that person does, because you have signed on to do this for community. What we see a lot on a global level is that people are waffling. and they drift in and out of organizations and platforming and working. You hold them accountable. You start with that accountability. You hold that focus group so you can have direction. And y'all could come to a means. Everybody can't run around the city doing the same work. But maybe as a collective, you can all lift each other's work. That makes more sense than to see people, oh, I don't like that bitch because that bitch is doing this and I'm going to do this. I want to be in charge of this. No, you give them directives and you let them sign on with that accountability clause. They sign there, they don't even have to write their name. Sweetie, put an X. That means you've committed to that. And that way you stay out of this direction of transportation. Because you're not working in transportation. You're not working in feeding community. That way each pocket and branch within what you're trying to build is strong. Because those people that signed on to do the work that they signed on to do, mind their business and stay in their lane.
And I can respond pretty quickly. I mean, this is not, it's not a secret. But I mean, even when I started this journey, right, I started with the tribe of people. That tribe did not last, and that's the reality. And honestly, I realized in that moment that collaboration doesn't always have to mean that it was a successful collaboration. Collaboration means that we came together with an idea, we invested, we planted, we sowed it, but sometimes it doesn't grow. But that doesn't mean that we stop growing.
But let me tell y'all.
Come on.
Let me tell y'all.
Okay, yes, yeah. Come on.
That young man right there, that is my tribe. That young man takes care of me, holds me, protects me, wipes my tears, feeds me, orders Uber Eats when I don't even damn it want it, makes sure I take my medicine, finds out where the McRib is back in season. But that is a tribe, and I know I can trust him. I will increase his salary. I will do anything to keep that sustainability there for me. And when you find your tribe, what works for you, you keep that. You keep that structure, and you keep that plausible direction, because that's going to help you do the rest of it. I know when he sees something wrong, he red flags it. That way I don't see something wrong. And you need that kind of team. You need a foundation. And sometimes the foundation ain't necessarily your friend. Sometimes it could be a loved one. But that loved one has to be committed to being strong. They can't be waffly or weak. They have to stand, because they're standing not only as a crutch for you, but they're standing behind you and in front of you to protect you from all the elements of doing this work.
And I mean, just there's a, you know, I think oftentimes about Bayard Rustin, right? And because a lot of people don't, you know, that March on Washington was not going to happen, right? They literally were adamant about it not happening. But truly, I've come to the understanding we do not need a lot of people to get the job done. We need the right people to get the job done. So oftentimes, literally, like, you know, there's a lot of people that will show up, right? Oh, it's free pizza, whatever. You know, people show up for the commotion, but they're not there for the community building.
And I don't march. I do not march. I'm a one black bitch that do not march. I wear heels, and I love my heels. I don't march. I will show up for your cause, but I'm not marching. Y'all ain't got enough money for my black ass to be marching in any kind of storm, in any kind of weather. I'm not doing it. But I support it.
Yes. Yeah.
Any more?
Next question.
Next question. I think yes. Yes, sibling with the planner.
Should we do?
So I'm Toby, he, him. So you talk a lot about like getting money from Google and all these like people and like saying, oh, this you need to fix this with like 50K or whatever, right? So I was on a panel a few weeks ago with the disabled community also talking on similar questions of resourcing. And then I got a lot of judgmental looks when I said I would take money from a developer for a specific project that was...
But let me,
yeah.
So, did you hear the part when I said I spoke in a college?
Yeah.
And the kids went home to their dad?
Yeah.
So that facilitation
yeah.
didn't happen because I spoke to him.
Yeah.
It happened because his children received the message, and they were kind enough to tell their father they're interested in the work I'm doing.
No, what I meant was a lot of people in like kind of grassroots movements here, and especially the arts, like they'll say like, I refuse to take money from BP, I'll refuse to take money from like
do you know any
people.
good money?
No, exactly, that was my response, is all money is bad money, but they all were like, no, you said the forbidden thing.
Here's where you be strong in your conviction. Yeah. Fuck them. Yeah. They're not doing your work. And I'm just saying this because if you live off the back of worrying about another motherfucker, that money is going to help you help other people that are handicapped that need help. So no. Fuck them, and fuck them with a donkey dick. You have to be committed in saying, I'm doing this for a community and not for your thoughts.
And no shade, capitalism is like...
The whole world is basically... Marriages are built on capitalism, please. Marriages are built on capitalism. When you want a refrigerator, a stove, a car, you give up a little ass and you get it. That's it.
We're coming to time, so can we have Joy's question and Nadine's question, and then they'll answer together? Is that all right?
Yeah. All right. I don't know if are we standing up. I don't know. Joy. Yeah, Joy. They them. My question is, yeah, I feel a lot of grief and difficulties because my Black trans and Black non-binary, trans non-binary friends, like I'm losing them. Like we've lost a lot this year to transphobic violence and suicide, and like, you know, like I'm like really close to feeling like I'm gonna lose another two, and I'm wondering how do you encourage those who have given up, understandably, because of this systemic gun at their heads.
We're all 2 steps away, sweetie. We're all 2 steps away from homelessness, from starving, from existing, from this work. We're all, like, I've seen this so much, and I'm here again, another December 17th. It is probably one of the worst days to acknowledge, but we have lost so many community members just because nobody was there to hold them. And that's horrible, but you never know somebody's limit.
Yeah.
And a lot of what goes on is that we just don't have a place to go mentally.
Yeah.
And there's no way out. And when I say that we're all 2 steps away, none of us in this room are impervious to feeling this way. We're feeling held, or feeling lonely, or feeling like you can eat, or feeling like you can survive, or feeling like tomorrow is tomorrow. Because we don't know what the fuck it looks like. But I can tell you, when you find somebody and somebody calls you, take it serious.
I do.
Enough to reach out and keep reaching out.
And calling in the night just to hold, for them to hold on.
Know they're safe. I had a community member that was a nurse, and you know, thank God I got out of bed. They know I went through this, and I got a group text message, and I didn't really read it, but just glancing through it, it said, "This is it."
Yeah.
And she graduated nursing school. She was a sex worker. She graduated nursing school the day before the lockdown and went right into the emergency room. And 2 years of working, burying people and watching young people and community members die, it was too much for her. And then she fell for some dick of a dyke nurse and a doctor who fucked her over even more. And mentally she felt like she had no more. And I couldn't get there. I was literally like an hour and a half away. But I called my daughter, who I know lived in that neighborhood, and I said, bitch, get out of bed. Get out of bed, and you go there before the cops get there. I need you to be right there to open that door. You get that landlord, you have that landlord open that fucking door, and you talk to those cops, and you tell those cops, don't fucking touch her. And, you know, all of this is playing out at 3 o'clock in the morning. And the next morning, I was pissed. She's alive, but I was pissed. And I went to the hospital. And I took the most obnoxious fucking funeral arrangement flower and I dumped it in her room and I cursed her the fuck out. Her family and all the lawyers and everybody sitting there talking about, oh God, girl, are you okay? Fuck that bullshit. Bitch, if you do that again, I'm gonna fuck you up. If you do that, because we gotta be real about it. You also got to the threshold of death. Don't do that to me. I'm your community member. You are hurting me. You're hurting all of us when you do this. So you have to have these conversations with community. That is a direct action. And have more of them with community. Because the other side of life is death. So how do we keep people going? How do we keep it going so we all want to live? It's a very hard balancing act, but this is what we need to be doing now, because the reality is people are willing to take their lives because out there is so far worse.
And I would thank you, Ms. Kaya. Thank you for that.
Thank you. Love you all. Love you all. Thank you.
And I just to culminate, I often think about this because it's so real. I've lost 2 sisters due to transphobic violence, and it annoyed me and hurt me to see community and even other black people talk about, well, you know, that they brought this upon themselves, you know, and it's one of those things. It's like, my God, like literally, you still don't even understand us even after we're gone. It is so frustrating. And then you want to put them in a suit? Fuck no. And so it's one of those things that I realize it's like, it's so hard to keep the spirit of faith. But I often say, you know what? We've already made it this far. Our ancestors didn't have a phone. Our ancestors didn't have no Judies. They didn't have no homegirl. They didn't have no place to go. But they endured. We have each other. Therefore, we will persevere together. Literally, that is white supremacy at its highest form. To truly make us think that we are alone in this fight, that there is no other option but to leave this world. And that is so real. I've been there with suicidal ideations because I truly felt like I can't continue like this. But it wasn't until I found family and community and I realized that, no, there's somebody out there that really cares about me. And they cared more about me than I did in that moment because I felt so gone. And it's easy to go back.
Y'all. And that's the message you need to tell them. I need you to survive.
Because someone needs their story. Someone needs their story. Someone needs to know that, look, they overcame. They are here proudly, resilient. Nothing could have stopped them. No status could change them. Honey, no housing could change them. That was not going to deter their power. It could not define their power.
And when you see somebody deep in thought and you think they're thinking something else, just tell them that they are divine. And that you need them to survive. Ask them if they're okay. It may not mean anything, but sometimes just asking is the gateway to hearing the real shit and saving a life.
And the reality, and this is not to, but you know, drugs are real.
We're going to be here until Christmas.
I know.
But it's worth
Training clause. Here it comes. Oh my God, sorry.
Wow. I just want to...
I mean, it's just a quick question if we do have time.
Go ahead, baby.
So you raised $1 million in a week. So it feels like a movie. Like that's like amazing.
It was.
Right. But I just want to know if you felt comfortable sharing, like, what was the ratio of people like donating? Was it organizations, private, like?
I gave a speech.
Yeah.
At the Brooklyn Liberation.
Right.
Speech.
Okay.
And people already know me for what I do. I help people all over the world. So having this vision was nothing. It was actually having a platform of 25,000 people standing before me in a sea of white.
Right.
And those people pulled out their phones, and it all happened.
Okay.
It was a sister, Sophia, a real Sophia, that believed in my vision. And I was, God's honest truth, I was being evicted. And she was like, girl, after everything you do in life, you're being evicted. And I was like, yeah. And she was like, no, well, first of all, we got to make you secure. And I was like, girl, ain't nobody going to donate to me. And she said, no, we're not just going to donate to you. We're going to donate to you, your vision, and your cause. And I said, I literally said, you'll be lucky if you get $700.
Right.
And in 3 days, we had $700 and something $1,000. And by that weekend, which was the Liberation March,
right,
we were literally at the Liberation March when Rio got on her phone and said, Cayenne, we're 10,000 short of $1 million. And I was up on the dais talking to everybody. And when that moment hit, and my nephew, I didn't even know, walked with me for almost a mile. I said I don't much, but that day I walked with all those babies. I did not know my nephew was standing next to me holding my hand. Because I was so full. And mind you, I've been suffering with breast shit. I walked that whole day, but my nephew walked with me for almost an hour and a half before he said, Auntie, you didn't even realize it's me. Because I was so full. And it was nothing designed. It was having the faith in myself and really committing to doing it for community. A lot of community members get access to money and they take it. They steal it. They rob their own community. I didn't have access or want to do that. I was born in privilege that I never had. So it was okay for me to do what I should have done, was actually do directly what I said. And I did. When my lawyers, pieces of shit, said, no, you hold that money. You invested in this and this and that. I said, I just sat up in front of the world and told the world, I'm going to invest it in housing. That's what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And within 4 months, I had that building.
right.
Like, I did not shy from that dream.
Yeah.
And I created it. And it's hell. Don't get me wrong. Having a building with a bunch of us.
Destiny.
Thank you so much.
Just to speak to destiny, I just want to speak to power. I was one of the 10,000 trans people in that sea of whiteness who heard her message. She said, honey, I smell like good pussy. I said, I know you do. I can smell it from here.
I swear.
Yeah. And that was on a Sunday. And truly, that was the invocation that I needed. I started some more protests that following Thursday. And literally, here we are today. So I just wanted to speak that into this room.
And now she works with Great State.
Oh my God!
I want to give my aunt and my sister their flowers and say, you know, such a resource and knowledge that you gave into this room. And I want to say that I refuse to let this work kill y'all. Yeah. That is my declaration to y'all. Y'all are not going to die doing this work for us. To the cisgender gay men in here, there are more than just our girlfriends that we clap for the balls. There are more than just our entertainers. There are more. It took a black woman with trans experience to make sure that I went to school, that I ate, that I'm all that I am today. And so when they cannot find solace and safety in our presence, we are failing our sisters, our mothers, our generation that poured so much into us. And so we must do better to make sure that our women, sisters, our trans community feel safe in our spaces. And when we see an injustice, even amongst us, misgendering, clocking, you check that friend. You disown that friend. Because saying that that's okay is letting them continue.
We done had church up in here. Hold on. We Spirit. Go ahead, sibling.
Yeah, first of all, I don't want to take the voice to start with because that's not really my place. I'm just here to listen and observe and learn. But I'm thankful for people holding me accountable. It's just like a shift in my... It's just a shift in the mindset. Coming a long way, being underdog and being told you have to prove everything, and realizing where you are right now and what you can do and achieve, and yet it's like not taking action. It's not easy, but something I want to do better at it. And it's inspiring to be surrounded by people that do such a great work, and hopefully I'll, join you all.
Thank you.
One thing. Matt, can you come in for 1 second? So tomorrow, right? Tomorrow we're having a party called Nighthawks. Matt has all the information. Matt, can you come here? Please. This is my best friend, my child, my everything. This is Matt, my darling.
Yeah. No, but like, if people want some tickets, we can get some, but there's some at the door tomorrow.
Yeah, and if you're trans,
it's
$5. You're so shy.
I just want everyone to just close your eyes for a second. Take a deep breath. Hold it. Breathe. Come back into this space. Yeah. Thank you so much. Like, from the bottom of my heart. It has been a long time since I've cried on a panel. And not just from being emotional, but from being in the realest fucking presence of the realest motherfucking bitches I've ever seen. Honestly.
Love you. Love you. Love you.
Please, everyone, just give an applause to these beautiful women. Yeah. Thanks everyone for coming out. I know it's late, but this was the time that we meant to be here. This was the time that we were meant to share this moment. Please, safe journey homes. Connect on the socials. And yeah, for the night tomorrow, if you're able to show up, please show up. Party, release, yes.
And I would just say honestly, I would just say honestly, in this circle, I mean, and not to be bombarding, but honestly, the community has already started here. The transformation already happened tonight. I mean, I don't know if y'all know everybody, but connect, share information, keep in contact, because literally we don't know how these moments of connection can change.
And y'all can always get my black ass. Just email me.
Period. So I just want to say that. Oftentimes we think that it's like a magical thing that'll happen, but it's already happened. It's already indoctrinated in this space. It's already been blessed. It's already been fortified because you showed up today. And that means the world. Okay, come on. Yeah, no, okay. We gonna be signing some books. I would love to, please. Yeah.
One more thing. I am part of an organization called We Exist. We have a healthcare fund for trans people. If you'd like to donate to that, you can. We can take your money over there. Yeah.
Hold on. Can you take a group picture with everybody? Yeah, come on.